We're going to be looking at dogs in home boarding facilities. The first thing I want us to establish is the difference between wild and captive animals. So, wild animals live outside of human contact with no domesticated ancestors. The humans impact wild animal populations, as we can see with the wolf on the left. And once established, specifically the wolf populations are difficult to control. So many urbanites revere wolves, while many rural residents dislike them because they go after their livestock. The use of adaptive management and zoning will be required to most sustainably foster wolf conservation. In reference to our captive animals, they live in human managed conditions and have undomesticated wild ancestors. Visitor interaction effects on the zoo animals are inconsistent, effects are stressful, innocuous, and possibly enriching. So, factors that may influence the animal's response are the species evolutionary traits, the individual animal traits, and environmental features of the enclosure. Since the dog descended from the wolf, we can look at the wolf behaviors to gather additional insight into anthrozoology. Humans have had an impact on the wolves from domestication to reducing their populations. Pertaining to human interactions on captive animals, there is some bleed over. For example, human interactions on boarded dogs could also have different effects on dogs, ranging from stressful to enriching. And since a captive environment is a controlled environment, which we have in dog boarding facilities, it stands to reason that humans can either be good for or detrimental to dogs in this environment. So, transitioning from the wild captive to the domesticated dog, we can take what we know about therapy dogs and their interactions, so the low stress, the human focused, the work minded, and take concepts from studies done on companion animals and their communication styles. And we can combine the two concepts and build upon a new foundation. If we're applying scientific information and integrating enrichment activities that are proven to lower stress levels, we can become the new standard in the dog boarding industry. So, rather than simply housing and feeding dogs, we can educate others on the importance of the human-dog interactions, and this has the capability of transforming culture's perceptions of dogs being here to entertain, aid, protect, and comfort us to a mutually beneficial relationship where humans also entertain, aid, protect, and comfort the dog. The effects on humans in the human-animal interaction are varied. For one in 5 animal care workers experience PTSD associated with events that they experienced at work, and 81% reported depression that was triggered by workplace events. However, animal contact was also cited as rewarding for the animal care workers. Organizational support and empathy for animals significantly lowered personal burnout, while organizational support but not empathy significantly lowered work burnout. In our second study, perceived pet insensitivity and higher pet attachment by the owner predicts higher levels of depression, anxiety, negative affect, and loneliness, while self-expansion is a positive predictor of positive effect and is associated with decreased loneliness. Both studies discuss the relationship between human mental health and animals, but study 1 focuses on the animal care worker and study 2 focuses on the owner. So the limitation in the study is that 91% of participants in study 1 were women, and women tend to have higher rates of mental disorders than men, pointing to potential pre-existing vulnerabilities in the field. Study 2 acknowledges the inconsistencies between past studies that have yielded contradictory results. So in our field of work, we can see that the animal care worker experiences depression and anxiety, which can lead to burnout. However, support from coworkers and management significantly lowers this. And if we understand that our clients who are overly attached to their pet also have high rates of depression and anxiety, we can provide a more tailored approach to help mitigate this by sending multiple photos and videos of their pet doing enrichment activities, getting loved on, and daily text reports. Since higher levels of loneliness are also reported in this group, the updates can provide a source of human-human contact, which provides benefits outside of the scope of these studies. Essentially, by developing an excellence mentality towards care for animals, we will also be caring for the human behind the animal. And the effects on dogs in the human-animal interaction. So positive human interactions have shown to lower dogs' blood pressure. Dogs who are uncomfortable in the human interactions may display avoidance behaviors, fear, freezing, and aggression. So there's a canine consent test that we can use to evaluate if a dog wants to interact with a human. The human will approach the dog using a non-threatening sideways stance while gently offering an open palm near the animal's chest. A dog who remains motionless or moves away is communicating distant, while one who moves towards the hand and initiates physical contact is communicating willingness to be touched. In the second study with environmental enrichment, it yielded significant increase in the frequency of relaxation behaviors and a significant reduction in alert and stress behaviors. And also relaxation behaviors for human bonding were higher with human tug play, bubble machine, and the playhouse. And there was a significant reduction in alert behaviors with the human bonding, the bubble machine, conspecific play, and the playhouse over food-based enrichments. Both of these studies discuss the relationship between dog stress response and human interaction, but study 1 focuses on the stress response and cues of dogs, while study 2 focuses on ways humans can decrease stress. So study 1 states that there are numerous challenges in effective monitoring of animals, and study 2 points out that this was a small pilot study, so these are both limitations. Study 1 can be used to create behavioral assessments evaluating stress in dogs at the facility, because this study also explores the exercise of agency. Since dogs cannot verbally express their desires, we must look to their communication style to gauge their behaviors as to not negate their ability to make their own decisions. And since positive human interactions show an increase in relaxation and decrease in stress alert behaviors, we can also implement environmental enrichments into our daily schedule, reducing the stress, equating to a more positive experience for the boarded dogs. We're now going to be looking at the evaluation of a home dog boarding facility and the impact that this has. Sorry about that. So in this, we can see that the video represents concepts in anthrozoology by demonstrating feeding and playtime with the dog and showing aspects of human-animal bond through the playing and through the care. The culture plays a part in this specific video because this is filmed in the UK where there are not leash laws. So you see this animal in a public place that is just roaming free. And the human's expectation of this interaction is she is excited. She mentions that this is her favorite dog breed, so there's already a bias towards that. And she also expects that she's going to make money from this interaction because this is a rover drop-off for her. And the animal's expectation of this interaction is one of excitement, positive human interaction. The dog is exploring the home, so there's physical activity. Obviously, the dog would expect food and water. So there are both positive and negative welfare implications in home-based dog boarding facility. For one, the home environments can be less stressful with more individual attention. But as we're getting ready to see in this video right there is also a higher chance of injury from other dogs, and vaccine worming requirements may not be as strict in the home boarding facilities. So the impact of the interaction on the human. The human here, she is extremely exhausted. She discusses how the dogs kept her up all night because they're in a new environment and it was just very overwhelming. While in the second video, she discusses a need to clean because there is dog hair everywhere. The impact of the interaction on the dog. So we know that positive enrichment raises relaxation behaviors while lowering stress and alert behaviors. However, as we can see in this video, it appears that we have a constant repetitive behavior with this dog and the ball, which lines up with the OCD. And so in this, we could be actually triggering more stress. This is an epic match, perfect, because it's exactly what I'm researching. In what can be changed. So in the first one, we looked at the leash on the dog in the field for safety, also explore other non-ball related enrichments, and specific to this human, accept boardings from non-shedding and less active dogs. We need to remember that human-animal interactions are not a one-size-fits-all, and we need to consider the human and the animal when evaluating. Finally, limitations on research here. There is conflicting research showing higher odds of depression were associated with pet ownership, and pet owners were found to be 41% less depressed than non-pet owners. So suggestions here. Moving forward, include human-human interactions alongside the human-animal interactions so that we can see if there is a higher satisfaction rate in people who have more human-human interactions. Also, equal number of male and female participants, as there is research stating that women experience higher mental health disorders than men. So if this is not equally distributed, this could yield additional limitations in the research. Also, focusing on a specific geographical location because cultures are different, and then narrowing the pets down to dogs only. So by eliminating other pet owners, the results would be more accurate. Finally, here is a list of my references. Thank you.